Okay, everyone, thank you very much for joining the 2024 Hyperledger Mentorship Run-Through today. And I have the pleasure of working with Min on this presentation today. And we're going to go through and really talk about the program itself. And we're going to have some nice panel discussions. We're going to have one panel discussion that'll cover the mentors and kind of what projects that they've posted out there for mentees to be able to grab a hold of and participate in the program. Then we also are going to have a nice discussion with Anasha, who I've had the pleasure of working with as a mentee, talking about what the mentees perspective is all about and how you can engage best as a mentee. And I think Anasha is the perfect example of how to be a great mentee. And just kind of go through this, answer any questions that you have about applying for the mentorship program. And the great thing about this is, it's an international program open to everyone around the world. And there's also compensation for those mentees that are selected. And the one thing I will tell you, though, is even if you are not selected as a mentee, Hyperledger is definitely an open community and welcomes all participation. And there's always opportunities for anyone to engage with the community on whatever framework works well for them, and then be able to be a participant or a contributor or a maintainer in the Hyperledger ecosystem. So at this point, I just kind of want to talk a little bit about today. I'm out at the University of Denver, and we're doing what's called a tech talent run through with all of the resources throughout Colorado and trying to determine where we can attract the best talent. And so one of the things that I've talked about during the presentation here at the university is, there's great programs like Hyperledger offers a mentorship. And that's a way for people that, maybe have not had a lot of work experience, or those, people that have had great work experience, to really engage with the communities and then get connected with employers that are looking for that type of skill set. And when I get in here and I talk to, Stephen and Arun about, what they're doing in the community and, what talent they're looking for, you'll see that any type of participation that you can have, or you can engage with the people that are actively developing in that environment, is really going to create opportunity. So I want everyone in this call to really take away today that this is a great way for you to upskill. And then, based on that upskilling, there's a lot of job opportunities. So at this point, Min, I want to turn it over to you. And, Min heads up the mentorship for Hyperledger, and let her go through and describe, the program itself. So over to you, Min.
Great. Thank you, John, for the introduction. So my name is Min. I am a program manager here at the Linux Foundation, and Hyperledger Foundation is part of the Linux Foundation. And I have the pleasure of working with a great community and a great foundation. So very fortunate to have this opportunity to talk to you all about the mentorship program that I help run. So 2024 is the 8th year that Hyperledger is running this mentorship program. So Hyperledger has been really investing in this program year after year. So I just want to give a little background why Hyperledger keeps investing in our mentorship program. So really, we have Hyperledger obviously have many projects and a large community, people working on many different things, but there's still gaps, right, in our feature and code development, in our research and documentation that we need additional people to address. So we see mentorship program is a great way to help address some of those gaps. Also, mentorship program helps incubate innovative and exploratory projects. Just based on what I've seen in previous years, some of our mentorship projects actually got incubated into our Hyperledger labs because they're adding certain features, and after they finish the mentorship program, they submit their projects and get approved as Hyperledger Labs project. It's a great way to attract additional contributors to work on the project. So that's reason number one. And all of those code that got written, research that gets developed, and documentation that gets developed, they are all open source and get used by all. So, it's a great way to, increase that contribution to all of the Hyperledger projects. Another reason why Hyperledger keeps investing in our mentorship program is it creates a pipeline to a more diverse, well-educated, and well-trained contributor pool for Hyperledger community. And many organizations are looking for these talents, as John, you mentioned at the beginning of this meetup program. If mentees go through this program, they are going to be trained by maintainers or very active, seasoned, open source professionals. So we know once they go through this program, we have a pipeline to a pool of developers or contributors that are well educated and with very good training that our community can tap into, and our many organizations and companies in the blockchain or DLT ecosystem can tap into. So it's a great way to create that talent pool. And also, we get lots of inquiries from, lots of new developers wanting to get into our community, want to learn how to contribute. There are, of course, lots of resources that we connect these contributors to, but there just seems, it's a vast amount of information. Sometimes it's hard to navigate. So that's, it's great that we get these inquiries, but it's hard to, kind of just put them on a learning path. And we also have a lot of open source, our own contributors or maintainers who are, because they're in open source, they always want to teach other people how to contribute to their projects. So this mentorship program provides that framework to connect people who are eager to learn and contribute to Hyperledger projects with our existing contributors who are eager to give back to the open source community through teaching and mentoring new contributors. And then lastly, I already mentioned a little bit, it just offers a clearer path for new contributors to navigate open source culture, infrastructure and tooling, and open development and open collaboration best practices. Even though our code is all open, our documentation is all open, there are certain ways that you interact with the open community and how to use our infrastructure and tools that will make you a more effective contributor. So this mentorship program provides that clear path for seasoned open source contributors to teach and model those best practices for new contributors. So those are some of the big reasons why Hyperledger keeps investing in this program year after year. And so that just provides a little context. And I think John already mentioned some of these are key program elements. Obviously, this is going to be a remote program. Mentees you can be based anywhere in the world. So it's very global. You have the flexibility to work at your home. You don't have to, go to the office or anything like that. It's a remote program. It's open to globally to anyone in the world. And then we offer a stipend. So it's not a salary or wage, but it's a stipend to kind of provide some incentive for mentees who do the work and whose work is satisfactory. We also, if you look at all of our projects, currently they're actually open for application on LFX mentorship. And also we have more details on our wiki. If you look at those projects, you'll see all of those projects have very defined goals and learning outcomes. It just makes it a little bit more goal-oriented. When you start working on these mentorship projects, you have, the mentors will help you meet those learning goals and learning outcomes. Also, we provide a structure to kind of help you work with the mentors to do project planning, because a lot of those projects, it's like a 5-6 months engagement and co-working with the mentors. It's, we need to break down the big project into smaller chunks, and we provide some framework to help you and the mentors to do project planning. And of course, these projects are proposed by Hyperledger maintainers or very active contributors. And once you get selected and you will be matched up and working with these maintainers and contributors, you'll be supported and guided by them. So this is a great opportunity, right, to work alongside with those open source professionals in the Hyperledger community. And we also have a framework to provide regular feedback and evaluations so that okay, I'm doing great in maybe in some aspects, but there are ways that I can improve. So it's a great way to receive that feedback directly from your mentors and from us, Hyperledger staff, to kind of keep improving your contribution. And at the end of your mentorship, you will have a lot of opportunity to write about your experience, your contributions, and your learning. You'll have the opportunities to speak at Hyperledger meetups or even in-person events, even at the Linux Foundation events as well, because I know a couple of our Hyperledger mentees got accepted into the Open Source Summit, North America, happening in Seattle next week. A couple of the Hyperledger mentees will be presenting in person at that conference. So, great way to, promote your, to showcase your contributions and raise your profile in the open source community after you complete your projects. So these are kind of some of the key elements, and I think also key benefits why I think many of you who are on this call should consider applying to the Hyperledger Mentorship Program. And in terms of how to apply, this is also detailed on the Hyperledger wiki. So I put the link on the slide here. But really, it's, first you want to kind of think about, are you eligible, right? If you're only a high school student or middle school student, probably not. Because we provide a stipend, that means you have to be eligible to receive that money in the country of your residence. So we have the link on our wiki where you can review the eligibility. And also, because this year we have 20 or so projects, you can only apply up to 3. So you have to kind of, read about those projects and think about which projects most interest you and which ones you're most qualified for, and focus on 3 at maximum to apply. And we do encourage mentee applicants to contact the mentors. So all of their email addresses and their Discord handles are visible on those projects on our wiki. So feel free to reach out to them. I know some mentors prefer that you maybe post the questions directly on Discord chat on those public channels so that, when they answer your question, perhaps other people have similar questions. So there'll be it's a more efficient way perhaps to address mentees' questions. And we do require that you submit at least up-to-date resume and a cover letter. Some projects have additional application requirements. So please do read those requirements very carefully and submit the applications on LFX before the deadline of May 10th. As in this year, we set the application deadline. May 10th is the application deadline. So this is kind of the flow, how you would apply. If you have the detailed application instructions are on our wikis, so you can follow the link and check out the details. And let us know if you have any questions. I do see other questions on chat.
The main thing is, Min, we've been posting links for people to research. Arun came up with the perfect portal for the application link. So if you want to just go and click on that, if anyone's interested in this. Yep.
Yep. So, oops. Let me just, Arun, thank you for actually posting. I'm also going to show just our projects on the wiki. So as you can see, 2024, we have a number of 20 or so projects. And the title of the projects, the primary focus. Most of our projects are going to be focused on coding. There are great many number of projects also have the documentation as a component, and some of the projects also have research as the component. And all of these projects are currently accepting applications on LFX. And the way how I navigate there, I go here, and so this is a portal or platform developed by the Linux Foundation, and Hyperledger Foundation uses this portal, and many other Linux Foundation projects and foundation also use this portal to open their mentorship applications to accept Mentee applications. As you can see, I see some CNCF projects and also RISC-V in addition to Hyperledger. So if you're interested in applying other mentorship projects, it's all here on this portal. And I do also want to point out, I did talk about the application flow, but here is also on our wiki we have more detailed information. Review your eligibility, look at all of our projects. We encourage you to contact the mentors, prepare your application materials, and then apply on LFX mentorship platform. So it's pretty straightforward, at least to me, but if you have any questions, do let us know. That's it for me, John. I will pass the baton back to you.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Min. And it's a wonderful run through, and it's been a very successful program like you talked about for the past 8 years. And I really think that the two things I'll say about the program is it's really enhanced community engagement and also enhanced contributions to the Hyperledger community. So I think both of those things really come out of this mentorship program. So Min, thanks for pulling up the mentor panel. And if you want to kind of go to the next slide, that would be great. And I have 3 distinguished presenters today from the Hyperledger community. So I have Arun, Stephen, and Sarah. And all of them have really, been great supporters of Hyperledger for a long time. And also being able to really talk about what mentors are looking for when they post these mentorship programs, and really how you can become a better contributor to the community. So it's great to catch up with all of you. And what I'd like to do first is kind of go around and just have each one of you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your background in the Hyperledger community. So Arun, I'll just start with you, and why don't you introduce yourself and talk about your background in the community, and maybe come off and turn on video if you can, so that everyone can see you and interact.
Hey, thanks, John. Hey, it's nice to see so many students and so many budding engineers interested in applying to mentorship program. It's been a great success, and just looking at the number of proposals that we have been receiving for the past few years. So quick introduction. So I'm currently a staff software engineer, and I work at Walmart. And I've been associated with Hyperledger Foundation for close to 8 years now. And it's been a great journey associating with the Hyperledger Foundation as such, working on multiple projects, contributing to multiple projects, and over the years also having been in multiple roles within the foundation, leading multiple things. So really looking forward to the panel discussion.
Yeah, Arun, and we really appreciate your community support. And like you say, you've really been a key component of Hyperledger for many years. So thanks. Stephen, over to you, and the same at you. I know you've been engaged with Hyperledger for many years, so give us a background and introduction.
Yeah, I've been involved since about 2017. I'm involved in the identity and digital trust projects. So it was around, Indy started those, was around with the start of Aries and participated in that. My role as a, I guess, architect and community organizer around open source software. I primarily work with the government of British Columbia. My mentor role is independent of that, but I do a lot of work with the government here in British Columbia, where we do work on digital trust and apply these solutions. And so that's my background. I've been a mentor one time before. The last session, it was extremely successful. So looking forward to talking about that.
Yeah, perfect, Stephen. And that's great. And really, your contributions in the identity space have been invaluable to the Hyperledger community. And I'm really looking forward to hearing more about, what your projects are. Sarah, you want to come off and give an introduction and talk about your role and experience in the open source community?
Yep, sure. Thanks for having me. I have been also involved for a couple of years in the Hyperledger community. I actually started as a mentee at the very first year of the program, and the program was very rewarding. And since then, I contributed as a mentor to various projects. All of them has been successful. It was a very exciting journey for me personally. And a little bit about myself, I'm an assistant professor in computer science, and my research focuses on distributed systems. Blockchain has been always a big part of my research, looking into blockchain interoperability, how we can build trustworthy systems through blockchain technology, and different research lines, again, with focus on enhancing the technology itself and utilizing the technology in different sectors. And so this, being part of this Hyperledger community is a big kind of investment for myself as well, because we always use the tools that the Hyperledger provides as the big component of our test test beds and systems, and we can evaluate our ideas. So be part of this kind of community helps us to be engaged with the recent advancements and be at the top of this technology.
Yeah, that's perfect, Sarah. And the great thing is you're also a perfect example of how the mentorship can be a stepping stone to being really an active member of the community. And I think anyone joining the mentorship program for the 24 session is going to really see, okay, if I get into this, I can be like Sarah and then have a great, element of my career around Hyperledger based on this mentorship. So perfect. Okay, so let's just ask a couple of questions here. So Arun, I know your broad experience in the community and helping in a lot of different elements for Hyperledger. How did you get involved as a mentor? You want to talk a little bit about that and why that was part of your journey?
Sure. So when we talk about open source and when we talk about open source contribution, it's all about having multiple mindsets coming together, having those multiple ideas. We put together those ideas and we brainstorm, we come up with proposals of approaches to solve a problem. So when we have a problem statement, and then let's say, hey, it is always good to have this solution, but we need kind of validation to even proceed in building a large scope project around it. So for such initiatives, it always makes sense for us to have those experiments done, have those evaluations done, most of the research work, and also have a documented way of running through those steps, and then create an evaluation metrics based on which a project could be built, right? So that was one of the motivation for why I feel I personally felt like I should get involved as a mentor within the Hyperledger Foundation. And when we first proposed the project, we had this thought process of, hey, is it good to have a connector component for blockchains, right? And I'm just giving one of the examples. So
Sure.
what does that connector look like? Should it have these capabilities? Then if we were to have those capabilities, how would it connect to this particular blockchain? What are the options? What options do we have over there? And how do we scale it up? So we really need to spend a deliberate amount of time and effort in order to evaluate and come up with a project. And now through the mentorship program, it allows us to brainstorm these kind of problem statements with the mentee, and it allows them to experiment and learn new skills, gain new expertise over the time. At the same time, we get the evaluation out of it, right? So it was invaluable experience, invaluable exposure as a mentor. And the outcomes that Mentee put up at the end, it's not just benefiting one specific project or one specific group of users. It's actually going to benefit everybody else who is interested in something similar, a similar problem statement. And the next step to that is the project itself is going big, like the project is growing big, and the new community is formed around that particular project or the problem statement. So overall, like this is the kind of motivation for what led me to participate as a mentor and get involved in this space.
Yeah, that's perfect, Arun. And you've really been highly engaged in the mentorship program. And I also have appreciated your help in working with Anasha with the 2023 program, really to help her to be successful as well. So great job. Stephen, you've really been, a key part of Hyperledger India and Aries. And, what kind of brought you to be a good mentor and, share your experience with these mentees that you've helped in the prior mentorship?
Well, I've only done one last year, and it was entirely self-centered reason. We had a real need and said, wait, there's this program out there. Let's see what we can do with it. And it really worked out well. So now I'm an ambassador for the program and pushing it everywhere, encouraging all the projects to join in. We had an issue. The thing about running an open source project or being a maintainer is there's always things that are the right things to do, but there's not enough incentive to get them done immediately. So you're building up this thing where you go, oh, if we could do that, if we had a resource we could use for that, we get this at the end of it, but the urgency isn't there. And so that's what we found. We had something important we needed done. Super impressed with the process, with the set of applicants we had, the engagement with the selected mentee who's here today was excellent. The skills were exactly right for what we needed, and the results were outstanding. We were really, really pleased with how we were able to figure out how to do this, and so that we got the benefits, but the mentee also got the benefits, and so it really worked out well. I'm really pleased to have done that, and delighted to be back again this year with 2 more projects.
Yeah, that's so wonderful to hear, Stephen. And the main thing is, having you as such a great contributor to the community, have that laser focused, here's a project that a mentee could take on, and then have the mentee have success within, the Hyperledger India Aries ecosystem. Perfect. That's what this is all about. And that's a perfect success story for the mentorship program. Okay. And also, Sarah, you're the perfect example of, how the mentorship program can be successful as a mentee, but what drove your desire to get back in and now become a mentor for the program?
Yeah, exactly. As Stephen and Aaron mentioned, that this is actually a very personally satisfying to witness the progress of the mentees, support them and guide them through their professional development, enhancing their technical skills, learn complex topics, and overcome challenges. But this is exactly a two-way street. So for us as a mentor as well, we are provided with this great platform, so we can propose our ideas as the projects, and then we are directly involved in all the steps of these projects, from the hiring the mentees, working with them closely, and it's a learning journey for us as a mentor as well. So we can kind of challenge our assumptions. We learn as the mentee is growing, and it's the constant development journey for us as well. So this I couldn't imagine a better a platform to contribute to the community actually.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great. And it's wonderful to hear. And kind of on a follow-up to that too is, and this I'll open up to the 3 of you, and just whoever wants to jump in would be great. Do many of you have a firsthand experience with someone that came into a mentorship program like Hyperledger's mentorship program here, and it really was a springboard for their career? And I guess even as a springboard for their career, I'll say allowed them to even get engaged with the community and stay as a community participant after the mentorship. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
go ahead, Stephen.
I was going to say, I wish I'd had this opportunity. I certainly didn't back when I began my career, and would have loved to have had it, but definitely did. I had mentors over my time, but never anything formal and never a program. Sarah, you have much better, more accurate experience.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, for myself, so when I started, like the first year, I was still in the middle of my PhD, and then I got involved in an open source like development and the whole Hyperledger community. So like definitely my mentors was a great support for me. They gave me actually and support in any way, technical support or like the professional development, or they still the confidence in me that how I can actually contribute and get back to this community and mentors other projects. And throughout the time, actually, all of the projects that I have worked with, these amazing actually mentees, I witnessed that how they were passionate about like the project objectives, how they really wanted to make sure that it's perfect in all the ways. And it actually, many of them were like graduate students. So at the same time, they were like graduating and then fulfilling their, for example, master degree program. And at the same time, participating in this internship program. And then they moved and jumped to their new career journey after that. So being part of like witnessing their growth and development and their success was always like amazing, actually.
I can maybe add on to it, right? So,
Sure.
personally, as Steven said, like when I was a student, probably like I did not have much opportunities like the way we have now, but it doesn't bar like other people from mentoring me, right? So I didn't have a great set of mentors, and at least within Hyperledger Foundation itself, I consider some of the project maintainers to be great mentors. When you interact with them, when you start your code contributions, when you get involved in some of the meetings and do design discussions, the kind of insights that they provide, that serves a great step into your career. And speaking specifically about beneficiary of the Hyperledger Foundation Mentorship Program, at least I know for the last 3 years that I've been mentoring each of the mentee that has passed in this program, they have had their career kickstarted within blockchain technology. Like they wanted to get involved and gain insights. Like we have Akanksha as well on the call, right? So her success story can be considered as well. So she was a mentee and now she is a mentor. So that shows the signs, the kind of development that the mentees have in the program and the kind of graph that we can see in the career growth.
Yeah, and that's perfect. And Arun and Stephen, both, you mentioned that you didn't really have this type of program when you were doing your initial career development. And I really think that, that's the benefit of this mentorship is it gives you that stepping stone. And even at this session I'm attending at the University of Denver right now, the whole thing is all about, how can people get engaged in the tech community and grow their career? And opportunities like a mentorship is a perfect way to really have that stepping stone. So kind of going back here, and I guess, Sarah, I'll start with you on this time, is what do you think the mentees will get out of participating in the Hyperledger mentorship program? And this can be, whether that's engagement, whatever framework you want to put that into. What do you think they would get out of the program here?
Yeah, so there are multiple actual benefits, valuable experience that they can get out of this program. They can work closely with the experts in the Hyperledger projects and blockchain field in general. They can get a continuous feedback on their work. They can enhance their technical skills. They will be involved in a big community, so their professional network will be expanded. They will be able to get support out of like this particular project, but also be involved with like the other advanced topics and the projects that exist within the open source community. From the professional development, how they can communicate the idea, how they can implement their idea, how they can present their ideas is an important step for them for move on to their next career journey. So all of them, I would say that it's a very like beneficial for them.
Perfect. And Rune, what's your thought on what the mentees will get out of their participating in the mentorship here?
I would say it's all the win-win situation here for a mentee, right? So let's start with like if we were to box those in categories. So of course, like mentees will get exposure to blockchain technology. They get to know latest happenings of within budding technology, and they get to know internals of how blockchain works, and all those benefits are tagged along. And right, either it's blockchain or identity ecosystem, and whatever project work stream they get involved with in the Hyperledger Foundation. Now, I would say the real game changer points for at least for somebody who is a student and they're looking to get started into their career, looking for an opportunity for gaining exposure, right? For those people, I think it's an opportunity for them to work with some of the best minds in the industry. They get to work alongside the brightest minds, like the people who have built project from grounds up, people who have put their thoughts, and they know what kind of problems are coming up. They can debate, and they even participating in, let's say, 15 minutes of debate with them can be really insightful for somebody who is planning to get involved and somebody who wants to grow their career. Now, this being one part of it, the next part of it is, as a student, we are all accustomed to like taking assignments and maybe working on those assignments. And when we switch into working in a work stream, let's say in our careers or some workplaces, we take some buffer time to get adjusted. Like we have to come up with ways of working, we have to come up with the achievable, like deliverable items, and then how do we go about from requirements mapping to creating user stories and working on them and delivering them, showcasing the value. This is also one more work stream or like the kind of work process that gets involved. That's another benefit for the mentee. So they get this all first-hand exposure through this program. Now, I also want to emphasize one more benefit that all the mentees gain is
Sure.
its open source involvement is unlike any other involvement, any other mentorship or internship programs that you get involved in. So the reason I would say is, let's say if you go to a workplace, so maybe you learn a new technology, you get involved in a project, you work on it, so your exposure is limited to people around you. But when you start working in open source technology, the exposure you get is not bound to one area, one geography, or like one organization, or like one project area. You're exposed to the entire world. So anybody can come in and they can suggest things around, and you're interacting with not just people from like one background or one diverse. There's so much diversity involved not in gaining knowledge and gaining expertise. And I would say that's really important early on in the career, so that it expands your thought process. It expands your the way you think, the way you apply solutions to any problems that are posed at you.
Yeah, that's an excellent run through, Rune. I really appreciate that. And I think that gives a lot of good insight to any of the potential mentees coming on the call here as to really what they would get out of the program. So, Stephen, over to you as a core maintainer. What would you say that the mentees would get out of the Hyperledger mentorship program?
You're probably on mute.
Yes, Stephen, you're probably just on mute real quick.
Sorry about that. The great ideas and comments from Sarah and Arun, they've covered most of it. The things I'll add is you get a definitive project and a goal that is doable but challenging. if it was easy, we would have done it. So it's not easy, but it is doable. We've thought through it enough to say, oh, this is something that's realistic. So you can't, it's really hard to come to a project and just say, oh, I'm going to start with this issue and just jump into it. So that's one benefit. I think Arun touched on this, but I'll make it more concrete. Your GitHub handle now will have a bunch of real contributions to it, and you're building your reputation that you can take anywhere to show them what you've done, not just that you've, cloned a repository or forked a repository, but you've actually made substantial contributions, and they can look at those contributions and see exactly what you've done. I think that's really important. And then the last thing is things like this meetup, where as a mentee, you have a platform to talk about what you've accomplished with people who are delighted with what you've accomplished, and willing to promote it with you. So it's very helpful in that way as well. So those are my additional thoughts.
Yeah, Stephen, and that's wonderful. And I think that gives everyone a good indication of why it's so important to be a part of the mentorship program. And I also think exactly what you're saying is, this public code that they could put out there, or public contributions that they can make to the Hyperledger community. Anybody who's an employer looking to hire is going to go back and say, oh, well, you worked with, Stephen or Sarah or Arun, and lo and behold, this is a contribution to the community, and that'll look great on a resume and with any employer.
Yeah. As a developer, your GitHub handle and being able to just proudly send it to someone and say, hey, take a look at my work, that's pretty neat.
I agree, Stephen. That's brilliant. I agree with you 100%. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to do one more question here, which is kind of a combined wrap-up question for the mentorship side. So, Sarah, I'm going to start with you. And it's kind of, what do you look for in mentee applicants that we think would be successful contributors to the Hyperledger community? And then B, just as far as, what would you kind of pitch as why somebody who's joined this call today as a potential mentee would want to be a part of this program?
Yeah, regarding the successful applicant and the way that we do the selections. So typically every project has a different requirement, technical requirement. It's used based on different platforms. So there are some general knowledge and a solid foundation on how what is the blockchain systems, how it works, what kind of good understanding of the whole concept in general. In addition to the specific requirement, a technical requirement of the project. For example, for our ongoing project, which at this moment we are accepting applicants, we are working with 2 different blockchain platforms, Hyperledger Fabric and a Substract framework. It's always difficult to find the perfect applicant in terms of technical who has experience with all the requirement of the project, but some of the component of the project have an experience with those component is making an applicant a good candidate. But there are other factors as well. So we usually looking for the applicants who are really passionate about this projects. It's more than just having an interest, because most of these projects are technically challenging and requires some sort of the passion and patience to overcome this kind of challenges, and make sure that they can succeed and complete the objectives of the projects. So that's mainly being a great team members. It's the distributed team. So being a great the team members and is another key factor for applicants to be successful. I actually forget, what was your second part of your question?
Yeah, I think you did such a superior job of just articulating the first point. The second point was just, if you have any just short pitch as to, someone's joined the call, they're a potential mentee, and they're hearing from all these great mentors, yourself included. Why would they want to sign up and participate?
Yeah, so again, the main reason would be like all the benefits that the mentees can gain out of this program. So some of this project might directly resonate with the particular mentees. That was actually the case for me when I first started as a mentee, because one of these project was exactly the contributing to my PhD thesis as well. So it was like a very good fit for me. I know like applicants can apply up to 4 projects. So there is like the different teams or different projects that they can look into. But they will get a lot of benefits that we just mentioned in the previous actually discussions out of this program, enhancing their technical skills, expanding their knowledge, benefit from great mentorship of this program, work with excellent team members, and expanding and enhancing their professional development and careers and their CV in general.
Perfect. Thanks, Sarah. Really appreciate that. And Arun, I'm going to jump back over to you and say, what do you look for in mentee applicants that you think would make them successful contributors? And then, give your quick pitch for anyone who's joined the call, why they should apply and go in for one of these mentorships.
Thanks, John. I think you're making me a person who pitches and gets more mentorship proposals. So, I mean,
Sure.
why not, right? So when we have spoken about so many benefits that the mentee will gain out of this program. So if I were a student and if I were looking for an opportunity to get involved, to make a difference in the world, and to add those credentials against my GitHub handle, and I'm just somebody who wants to get started in my career, right? So I would see this as the best opportunity that is just out there and for me to grab. And I would do all possible in my hand to go and apply and build that impression, or like make the best efforts to even get selected through the phase. So having said that, I want to speak about as a mentee, what makes the difference, right? So think about from mentor's standpoint. So let's say I have a project. I mean, I do have a project this year as well. So let's say um, I am receiving maybe I'm just not quoting the numbers, like not the number is not supposed to be considered as the total number of applications that each project will receive, but just for quoting sake, right? So let's say we receive about 50 applications per mentor per program or per project, right? So as a mentor, I will have about maybe like 1 week or maybe 1.5 weeks of time to shortlist and make sure who's the best among them so that I can work with them. And the goal is to gain to make the best efforts to select the mentee and also gain all the things that we wanted out of the mentorship program into the project to make that contribution into the project. So from a mentor standpoint, it is really difficult if your application is too generic or too vague, right? So I think Sarah also mentioned that in a way, it's not just about interest, it's also about showcasing your passion. So I would say during your application process, make sure you spend sufficient amount of time in how you formulate your profile. So building a resume is a prerequisite, right? So for all the projects, and building a cover letter is a prerequisite. I would say model your cover letter and talk about why. So sure, you can talk about, let's say, maybe a paragraph about your journey and what makes you unique among others. But if possible, what are some of the great proposals that I've seen in the past is they have spent their time in thinking about what they think is the problem statement, what they think can be done to solve the problem statement. So if I'm choosing a specific project to apply, then I would spend time on it. I would say, hey, this is my approach to solve the problem, or this is what I think about the problem. And that gives somebody who is filtering your profiles an opportunity to know that yes, you're involved, as you're making an attempt to understand what the problem is. It makes them think like it is easy for them to work with you. And some of the projects do come with additional requirements. For instance, this year specifically, I'm like requesting people if they can describe the problem statement.
Good.
So this is one of the way through which it's not just for the mentorship program, right? It's also helpful in your career as well. When you start building solutions, it's not about the solution. What matters the most is how do you design it? And in order for you to design the best solution, and how you understand the problem, how do you analyze the problem, that becomes the crucial step. So I'm probably making an attempt for all the applicants who are applying to the project, asking them if they can write a short summary, maybe within 500 words, describing a problem that they have solved, not necessarily the project of the proposal for which they're applying. So once they pass through the filtering criteria, there could be some selection criteria. If there are more number of qualifying applicants, maybe mentors prefer to talk one-on-one. They would schedule a interview as such, right? So make sure you are available during that time. Now, let's say you got into the program, you got selected. What's the next thing that you do? It's always consider that. I also saw some questions that people are asking on the Zoom chat about spending time with the mentors, right? So consider this as an opportunity for the next 3 to 6 months. You have mentors committed to you. You have a mentor who is available to you at your disposal. So how you make their time utilized is up to you. So go ahead and schedule regular cadence calls. Go ahead and propose what you want as the regular cadence calls, and tell them that, hey, this is how my schedule looks like for the next few months, and this is my availability, and I would propose that we sync up. Or maybe you tell me what task to achieve, and we both come up with a project execution plan. And this is how we track the deliverable at the end of it, right? So show that initiative, show that enthusiasm, show that you are interested in the project. At the end, whatever you are going to build through the mentorship program, it's your baby. You're going to carry it forward. And
Sure.
it's not just your baby in the sense, since it is being done in the open source, you have to make sure additional contributions do come in. So treat it as something that you built and make it successful. Make it a thing that you want your friends to start contributing to. You want people from across the globe wanting to contribute to what you have built. So that gives you another level of expertise, which you don't gain generally in your workplaces, right? So yeah, this is my advice to somebody who's applying. And having said all this, if I were a student, again, I'll repeat, why not? Like, I would go and apply now if I had an opportunity.
Arun, that's brilliant. Thanks for that exceptional run through. And I think all of that, expertise and advice is well received by the attendees here, and it really gives them a roadmap for what they should do next, which is namely apply for one of the mentorships that's posted in that platform. So, Stephen, I'm going to wrap up with you and ask you the same questions here to run through. What are you looking for in the mentee applicants? And then, what is your pitch for those people attending this call as to, why should they go forward and put in their application?
Yeah, I think just briefly, my thoughts on top of what's been said is just pick projects that align with what you already do,
Sure.
have done. You can't in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks gain all the experience you need to start on a new project. So pick the right projects that align with your background, and then provide verifiable information in your application to show what you've done that would contribute, that would enable you to be the best contributor to this, to the project. So, I talked earlier about your GitHub handle and show what you've done. You can't do that in the next 15 days to have real data, but if you already have that, absolutely showcase it. I think that's the main thing. Related background, there's a question right now that someone's asking about, I have a background in medical biotechnology. How do I do? Well, your key there is to find one that most likely fits it. And there may not be one of those, but maybe there is, but try to align it to something that you've done and that you have experience in, and that you will be that you can show you will be successful in. As far as why to do it, is just so many benefits coming out of it, including, as I say, exposure and experience and Jobs. Very simply.
Perfect. Yeah, jobs. That's a good career development. You hit the nail on the head with that,
know.
Stephen. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Well, that's brilliant too, Stephen. Thanks for all that insight. And I really want to thank Arun, Stephen, and Sarah for joining the call today. And they will be available as much as they can to respond to questions in the chat. I really want to be respectful of everyone's time here. We have Anasha, which I had the pleasure of having as my mentee for 2023. And she did such a wonderful job as a mentee. And now she's going to do the hosting of the panel discussion for the mentees. And then if we have any time left, which we may not at the end, then maybe we can go for just questions directly. But I'm going to turn over to Anasha now. And Anasha, take it away from here.
Hello. Hi, John. Am I audible?
Yep, you're loud and clear, Anasha.
Okay, great. So, hello everyone. Myself, Akanksha Rani, and I am from India, and I am currently an upcoming software engineering intern at Microsoft, and I have been part of Hyperledgers in 2023, and I have had the privilege of working with John, and my other two mentors. And in the with Min as my program manager, everything was so smooth. And along with that, getting help from such great mentors like Arun and Bobby, it was a very beautiful journey for me, because it was not just a internship experience, but also like making a connection with people worldwide. So it's very beautiful for me to be present here and speak about my journey. So I'll start with myself, like how did I get to know about Hyperledger, and then I'll like to know about the experiences of other mentees along with me, co-mentees for 2023, and get to know about their experiences as well. So for me, when I entered into the space of open source in 2022 through Hacktoberfest, it's a big scale program. So I got to know that we can contribute to different projects, and we can understand like how things take place in the open source world. And I was exposed to open source by that. So I was very interested in working in some program. So I was looking for different programs like Google Summer of Code and Outreach. There are multiple programs in there in the industry. So I was looking for different programs, and with that, while I was exploring, I got to know about Hyperledger and LFX, and it was I think so the best part of all the exploring was that I got to know about not just Hyperledger, but all the different organization under LFS. So it was not the learning about one organization, but got to know about different organizations. And John, should I answer the questions that is listed and then move forward to different mentees, or how should I take that thing?
I think what I would do is, as you can ask the mentees those questions, that would be great, and also weigh into it as your own perspective, because you did such a great job with the program. So I would say, cover the questions, but also give your experience as well.
Sure. So, surely. So, first of all, I'll just, give a brief introduction about my journey, and then I'll move forward to different mentees for their experiences. That would be a better option for me. So, how did I discovered about the program? So as I said that I was exploring for open source opportunities in there, and then by exploring, I got to know about that Hyperledger is there, which introduces us to blockchain technologies. Even if we are beginners, it's a very good organization which gets us exposure for in blockchain technologies. So I reached out to my mentors, John, and my other mentors, Niku, and I also had one more mentor. So I reached out to them so that I can get to know about how to, engage with the community. So they sent me the calls link. There's a page dedicated for just call details. So for Hyperledger, so we have weekly calls in there where mentees can get to know about the different projects and one-to-one connect with the mentors and different program managers, and it is a very good way for interacting and making networks. So I joined those calls before the application deadline for around for 1 month around. I try to give some contribution from my side, give my ideas, and how am I planning to work for the project. So that was how I was preparing myself in beginning before applying to the program. So after that, when I talk about my contributing experiences, so in that my project was based on front end and UI UX design. Other than that, we also had documentation research work. So it was a combination for of lot of things in there. So my project name was Hyperledger onboarding, and my mentor was John, and other two mentors in there. And I worked upon the different UI UX aspects, and mostly on the research part, where I was responsible for integrating different popular YouTube videos of Hyperledger in the official page of Hyperledger, and I tried my best to incorporate them in the start here guide, and incorporate the different popular videos of Hyperledger, which is not which is not visible to people who come to the Hyperledger page for the first time. So that was how I was basically smoothing the process for different first time users, whether they are uh, contributors, whether they're maintainers, whether they are business persons. So that was my job basically. And when I come about my learning experiences, as I said, so it was not just limited to the internship. From that internship, I got to know how to work with people in different time zones. So that was the best learning for me, that I'm sitting in India here and I'm working with a time zone with a person sitting at different part of the world. So that was one of the best learnings. And other than that, I got to know about so many technologies existing. I got to my technical skills were enhanced because I took some help from Arun also in different GitHub related problems. So everything was improving day by day as my 6 month experience, 6 month journey went through. So after that, how does the experience related to my professional and academic goals? For this question, I would say that like it has extremely impacted my both my life, both professional and academic, because this when I talk academically, so this program was included in my academic subjects, and I was able to get credits for this. They find it Min wrote my letter of recommendation, and I'm very grateful to her for that. And for that, I after that, not just it was not limited to credits. In my professional life, I used to learn first and then apply things in life. So with this program, I understood that you can even by mentoring people, you can grow yourself. So I started helping people out the way I got help from my mentors. So I started mentoring people in different technologies and open source, and encourage them to join program, Hyperledger program, and different LFX programs, and different open source programs. So that was how I was growing day by day, not just by focusing on my skills, but also helping out others in the process. And that had helped me a lot by building my professional connection, because it became very strong. After this program, a lot of people had reached out to me. So because of that, I got that professional identity in there, that yes, I have done something and people really look forward to me to understand the program. So the last question is like the any advice that I would love to share in the interested people who are joining. Like I have got a lot of requests in there, for guidance and guidance for this program, and I've helped people out for whom I could, but I have received a lot of requests. So everyone who is watching this program right now, and everyone who's looking forward to contribute, first of all, no matter whether you get selected or not officially in this program, you should definitely contribute in there. That would be my first suggestion, because I remember with my experience, I was not just working on one project. I was definitely selected for one under John, but I was also working on another project with Arunima as a mentee. That project was a Hyperledger documentation, and I tried my best to contribute in that project also, because it was so interesting working with different technologies and learning about new things. So even though that project, I was not officially registered as a mentee for that project, but I was doing that parallelly. So with that experience, I can say that even though you're not officially selected and you're not getting, paid for something, you definitely, the learnings that you get are worth for joining in the community. So that would be my first suggestion. Secondly, when it comes to the application process, I just feel that if you get engaged with the community, like earlier, the earlier phase of like 1 to 2 months before the application deadline, which is going on right now. So in that phase, you can understand the program better, and you can understand that how you will contribute in next 6 months. So even the mentors in there, they join in call, and you can connect with them and get to know what exactly they're expecting. Like right now, we had so many mentors in there on the panel who told that these are our requirements, and we are looking forward for these things. But if you join the calls in there and you try to understand like what exactly is the project specifically looking for, that would be very beneficial for your application. And the last thing that I would say, after all this, that the mentor learnings, the program learnings, and the exposure to people worldwide, all these experiences are more than the stipend that we are getting in there. Definitely stipend is a very good factor, that it helps us to encourage that we should work upon, and the our work is recognized by the organization. Stipend just depicts that. But other than that, the experiences that you'll gain would be there with you forever in this lifetime. And like I right now will be interning as a software engineer in Microsoft. So the experiences that I gained here definitely helped in there, in my interviews, in there, in the other companies. So that is another factor that has helped me a lot. And yeah, so that is the thing that I would like to that was all that I wanted to share. And other than that, if any one of you wants to reach out to me for any sort of help, I would love to help you out in any other way. So I'll move forward to Aritra Bhaduri for the next introduction about himself and how his journey took place, and how can he, like, I'll request him to answer all these questions. Over to you, Aritra.
Hello everyone. I am Aritra Bhaduri. I have been working as a mentee in Hyperledger in the last year. So I had worked under Stephen in the Hyperledger Anonymous project, where I had completed the existing Anonymous version 1 protocol, and documented and reviewed the existing code bases. And along with that, I have checked the white papers, and made sure that all of the documentation, code base, and the white paper aligned, and more or less connected and sufficient for anyone who wants to create their own implementation of Hyperledger around it. So that's what my work revolves. So coming to the question, how did I discover the program? So when I was in my college, so I'm currently in college in my third year. So when I was in second year, I got to know about one of our seniors who was also a graduate of the LFX mentorship program at Hyperledger. So he was a few years senior to us, and I reached out to him on LinkedIn as he graduated few years ago from our college. I talked with him, and he told me that it is a very good program. You should apply if you are interested. And I was interested in open source for a long period of time. I tried to work on open source projects. I have been even making some small contributions to some simple projects that are available in GitHub. So that's how I started getting to know about the LFX and mentorship program at Hyperledger. So gradually, when the application time opened, one of my friend told me that they were also applying, so we all applied together. And after that, the process went on, and the applications got shortlisted and interviewed, and that's how I discovered and got selected in the program. So coming on to my learnings from this program. So one of the most important thing one can get to learn from a mentorship program is to know how the open source community works. So the open source community is a vast community, and if you're interested in open source, then in one way or other you need to interact with the community. You will have to take help from the community. You will have to help the community back, and that's how the open source communities work. So this also implies that you need to interact with the industry expert professionals that are already in Hyperledger, learn from them, get their valuable experience, and uh, become a better developer along the way. So this also means that we'll learn good open source practices, how to write code, how to maintain the code, how to make the code ready for production, how to write appropriate protocol specifications, which my work involved. So apart from that, there are also things like meeting the deliverables that are required within the time frames, overcoming the challenges that might happen during the project. So that's all I have learned from the project, and interacting with the mentors also gave me a helping hand, and they guided me in a lot of ways to help in the to give back to the community and complete the project that I had. So that's how I would say that open source helps us. Mm, Coming to the third question, how does the experience lead to the professional academic goals? So the most important thing one can learn from such a mentorship program is to get industry connections. So this is one of the most important things, and getting industry connections is very much useful for any professional in the world, and uh, using these connections they can grow later in their career and can make them get opportunities, meet new people, and all of that stuff can happen. So you can learn good practices of the industry. Apart from that, the LFX mentorship is a very important place to, and a very nice platform to showcase your talent to the world. So you have the passion to build something, you want to create an impact, so come on here and start to contribute in open source projects. You will uh, help the entire world who are using the projects, and you will be helping an entire community out. So that's how. So uh, coming to the last question about advice that I can share with the prospective mentees. So I would say that you should select projects that align with your strengths. So I have seen many people who apply in programs where they just somehow pick some projects randomly, hoping that they will get selected and fill the application. So I would say that don't do something like that. Select the project, read about the project. I would suggest that every Hyperledger project has their mention in the website. They have Discord channel. To try to understand what the project is about, and try to understand who are the people working there, and try to understand if it fits you, if it aligns with your skills. So that's how you can find a good project. So you can go to the list of the projects and look out for that. And then I would suggest that you should express your interest to the mentor. So you can communicate with the mentor on various platforms like in the emails or Discord. So I would suggest to express your interest, and even in drafting your resume or cover letter, you must write it in a way that it experiences your passion, it expresses your passion and your interest, that yes, I am capable and I am different from all the applicants. So that is one of the major factors that play a role. Apart from that, uh, yes, getting in touch with the mentor beforehand helps. And even if you are putting in a mail, or you are just putting some queries out, or having a conversation with the mentor on Discord channels, so all of this helps. Apart from that, I would suggest to write a resume that focuses on your strengths, that are relevant to the project, and that is how you can create a positive impact on the mentors who are evaluating your application. So that's all from my side. Thank you for listening.
Okay,
Thank you,
perfect.
Aritra. Sorry, yeah, it's on.
Kusha, you want to
Uh,
get
Oh yeah.
Kusha? Yep.
Hi everyone. I'm very glad to be here. I'm Kusha. I'm a master student in University of Manitoba, and my research revolves around blockchain and mainly blockchain interoperability. And I was honored to be a mentee in the previous year program. And now I will try to share my experience with you as much as I can, and I hope it would be beneficial for you. Well, I came across this project through my supervisor. As I said, I'm working in a blockchain lab. Actually, it's a distributed system lab, but we mainly work on blockchain. So this program was suggested to me by my supervisor, and I applied for that. And I mean, I learned a lot during this program, especially about contributing to an open source project, because you can learn contribution to open source project in two ways. You either gonna have your own repository, through which you can learn how to maintain a repository in a professional way, and how can you write documents for that so people can understand your project. Or if you're or you're gonna open a pull request on, I mean, an already existed Hyperledger project, and you're gonna resolve the issues that the maintainer is gonna have on your pull request, and you're gonna learn a lot from them, because the maintainers in the Hyperledger products and the mentors are, I mean, they are really professional, and you can check their GitHubs or their like research papers, and you can see that how professional they are, and you can learn from them. About about the relation with the academic or professional profile, well, it can definitely boost both career and academic profile for you, especially for me, because well, I'm a blockchain researcher, and being in this program gave me like a lot of experience, and I mean a lot of practical experience, because when you are in the academia, you sometimes are just indulge yourself in the papers, and you probably, I mean, it is possible for you to to just be far from having a practical experience. But this program can give you I mean, a very, very practical experience, and you can actually apply whatever you know in blockchain in a real professional industrial level project. And well, regarding the advice for the mentees, well, I definitely suggest you to go through all the project, read the description thoroughly, and read the skills that are needed for the project, and choose a project based on your personal interests and also based on your plans for the future. I mean, you're gonna learn a lot from your mentors, and it's gonna be a great experience for you. So make sure that the program will serve you for your future plans. And to me, applying for this position is not really, I mean, it's somehow similar for applying for a job. So you should definitely work on your resume and your cover letter, and try to bold your skills, but you should avoid over exaggeration about your skills, because well, it depends on your mentor. But I myself, I had an interview with my mentors in addition to my resume and my cover letter. So you need to somehow defend what you are asserting in your resume. So don't over exaggerate your skills, but tell the absolute truth. And if you have a skill, just don't be ashamed to bold it. And yeah, that's all that comes to my mind. If there is any question, I'm all here for answering.
Kusha, you want to go to the final mentee panelist? Let's just see if
Hi.
Nayan can jump on.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, you sound great.
Okay. So hi everyone. I'm Nayan, and I was a mentee in the Hyperledger program in the last session. So yeah, I'm about to share about my experience. So an introduction about me. I am, well, you could say basically a nobody. I don't have any formal education in computer science. I've been learning through blogs, YouTube, Wikipedia, and all the good stuff. Sometimes just browsing through GitHub and looking through open source code to try to learn how people actually make wonderful software. So, uh, learning through these various ways and building my skills, I've been doing this for a while. But how do you actually know what you know? You need to apply it. And you need to know what else is there to know to be able to work in the industry. So, since I had been using a lot of free software, I wanted to work in something that is open source. I had heard about GSOC from somewhere. That's the Google's open source software program. And so I was looking for what other options are there. So I just put it in search, open source mentorship projects, and I found Hyperledger mentorship on a blog. It was among a list of others. Now, there were some others that I found like GSOC, Igalia, Outreachy. By the way, you should look into all these too, whoever is applying. These are good projects. And yeah, Outreachy opens in August, by the way. So, like after this application is done, don't be sad if you don't get into this. You can. There's more open source mentorships out there. Okay, so coming to Hyperledger. So I saw Hyperledger on this blog, and then I started looking into okay, what is Hyperledger? I haven't heard of this before. And as I looked into the Wikipedia of Hyperledger and just started researching, I saw, hey, they have Linux Foundation block backing. That seems good. Like this seems like a legit and nice project. And so I went into their list of projects, and I really did like a few. Some of them really felt approachable and within my interest zone. I was interested in Rust at the time, and I did see some projects that were related. And you might find something of your interest. There's a wide variety of projects in the Hyperledger list, so do take a look. Someone has already shared the link to the project list, so skim the links, open anything that catches your interest, and I'll give you one trick. If there's a project that you do like, go on YouTube and just search for that project, Hyperledger, and that project name. You'll find many meeting videos. That is, like all of these projects, they regularly meet, and the recordings for these meetings are available on YouTube. So without even starting the project, you can actually get a feel for how work goes on uh, in that project. So that's one way you can get to know about which projects you want to work on. So I would like to give one suggestion here. Go through the listings right now. Don't wait for the last moment to apply. I'm one of those that waits until the last moment to apply, so I can totally empathize there. But you probably won't be able to go through all of these projects. They're detailed. They have mentions about the requirements, what is expected, what the project is about, and you won't be able to go through all of them in one go. So take some time, schedule some time to research about these projects and select one or two that you're really passionate about. So I selected the ones that I was passionate about, and I did a lot of research about them, and then I applied.
Perfect. Thanks for those insights. And
can I just say a little more?
Sure.
Yes. So let me come to what you can learn about contributing to open source through this mentorship. So one thing I found is that developers love meetings and live discussions. When you go through GitHub discussions and mailing list, it might seem that open source developers are solitary creatures who only interact through code and long technical messages and stuff like that. But that's not true. There's a variety of ways in which open source project members communicate. And whatever your favorite mode of communication is, there's probably a project that does that. So in my previous mentorship, uh, which was with Outreachy, the primary mode of communication was IRC. IRC is Internet Relay Chat, and that thing is even older than the first HTML website. Other projects these days use things like Matrix and other chat platforms. And as you may have found out already, Hyperledger has a Discord. How cool is that? So, like, however you want to get in touch with these open source developers, you can do that. So, please do. Some devs in the Hyperledger community even have pair programming live stream sessions. There's a link in the chat regarding calendar of public meetings. In that, you can take a look and you'll find that some project members actually have live pair coding sessions. So anyone can just hop in, ask questions, and code together with someone that's already experienced. What I'm trying to say is, in open source, there's no one way to collaborate. And this is something that you learn through uh, this mentorship. And you can also, of course, self-learn this. What's important is the spirit of collaborating and building on each other's work. And of course, to give credit to everyone that's involved and contributed in the journey. Open source is putting your code out there and inviting people to build upon it and improve it. Like Arun said, you're building something that you want others to contribute to. This is something that became extra clear by working on this mentorship, because the way in which my mentors, they were very inviting in my contributions. Like they wanted to enable me to be able to contribute to the project. And I'm sure most of the other mentees also share this experience. In any open source project, people want you to contribute. So you shouldn't be afraid to, just help in whatever way you can. You're there to learn as well as to give something.
Correct. Let's go ahead, and we're coming up on the bottom of the hour here, and I really appreciate all of your insight here, but I want to give a couple of minutes here to really go through and revisit this. So Anasha, great job on running that mentee panel. I really appreciate it. I want to thank all of the mentors for joining us today to give their insights and also to really participate in the meeting chat that was going on and answering all the questions that were coming through. And there was a huge amount of questions that were answered, and we really appreciate it. The final thing that I'd like to do here is to turn it back over to Min for final thoughts that she has around the mentorship, and also let her talk a little bit about if you need to get a hold of anyone regarding the mentorship, how to best do that. So Min, I'm going to put it back over to you for the final closeout here.
Yeah, thank you, John. Thank you, everybody, for joining today's session. Special shout out, of course, to all the mentors, Arun and Stephen, and one more I'm forgetting.
Sarah is the
Sarah,
other.
yes.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing your great insights. And for mentees, thank you for sharing your experience. And I know, Kusha, you are already proposed your project to be a Hyperledger lab. So coming out of your contribution from last year. And I think, Nayan, you are maybe one of the core contributors now for Aries. So thank you for sharing that experience. and also Akanksha. And thank you for doing all the work, working with John. And thank you very much and for your continued contributions to Hyperledger. And yeah, if you have any questions, please do get in touch. If your questions are very generic about our application, about the program in general, just email mentorship@hyperledger.org. Hyperledger Foundation staff will answer those questions. If you have very specific technical questions, yes, we do encourage you to reach out to the mentors, but be thoughtful about your questions. And also, they do encourage you to ask those questions on the public Discord channels as well, so that your questions can be seen by other mentee applicants who are interested in applying to this program as well. Once again, the application deadline is May 10th, so please do submit your application materials on LFX mentorship platform, and we look forward to receiving your applications.
Great. Thanks, Min. Thanks, everyone, for attending, and we look forward to seeing the application come through. Have a wonderful day, and we'll call it good.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, David, for hosting as well.